to the Nomalanga show. I am Nomalanga Mshali Moses, coming to you live from FlyingNubianQueen.com. Today I am discussing the activist and rapper Nipsey Hussle, who has tragically died. But before we jump into our conversation, I would like for you guys to do me a couple of favors. The first thing is, if you haven't already, please subscribe to FlyingNubianQueen.com. Stop right now, go to FlyingNubianQueen.com and subscribe. The reason why we're always saying subscribe, guys, is because we need your support. We follow and report to you and talk about stories that mainstream media won't talk about. So it's very important that we all subscribe and support this network. Okay, so FlyingNubianQueen.com. Matei says good morning, and thank you for watching. The second thing I'm going to ask, guys, is mark it on your calendars. On Wednesday is going to be very interesting. I am starting a show with Ro Cutno. Actually, it is Mrs. Granjanois, also known as Ro Cutno, the author of Man Leads and the founder of Roots of Royals. We are going to start a show that's going to discuss generational wealth and success. It's going to be wonderful. I'm excited about it. Again, that's 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for my friends who are in France, where Ro is. That's 2 p.m. in the afternoon for my other friends in Botswana, South Africa, and other parts of Southern Africa. That will be 2 p.m. as well. Okay, so 8 a.m. on Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time. And then the third thing that I want you to do is go to Pads for Our Girls, which is my nonprofit initiative that I have just started this year. And this is basically going to provide pads for young girls in rural areas. And rural areas usually means poor girls who don't have access to sanitary pads, and this impedes them going to school. So we are going to supply free pads to these young women. So please like and support that page. We are really, really looking for your support in that. Okay, so the story at hand is the rapper and activist Nipsey Hussle. Okay, so I'm going to be honest, guys, I did not know much about this man before today. So I did a little bit of digging so that I could be well informed before I did this. Okay, so this is straight from Wikipedia. For those of you who are like me and don't know much about me, I'll quickly cover who he is. Okay, his real name is Ermias Davidson Asgerom. Okay, he was born in 1985, so he's 33 years old. He was known professionally as Nipsey Hussle, often stylized with two S's being dollar signs, and he was an American rapper and songwriter from Los Angeles, California. He was emerging from the West Coast hip-hop scene in the mid-2000s, and initially became known for his numerous mixtapes, including his Bullets Ain't Got No Name series, The Marathon Continues, and Crenshaw, the latter of which rapper Jay-Z bought 100 copies for $100 each. After much delay, his debut studio album, Victory Lap, was released in February 2018 to critical acclaim and commercial success. And he was nominated for Best Rap Album at the 61st Annual Grammy Awards in 2019. He was shot and killed outside his store, Marathon Clothing, in South Los Angeles on March 31, 2019. So that's just yesterday. Okay, a little bit more about him that I found out. He's actually was married to an actress that I used to actually see on this show called The Game that I actually met some years ago. Her name is Lauren London, and they have 2 children. So very sad. So our condolences to his family and to Lauren London and their children. Okay, so that's a little bit about who he was. Okay. Now, my title of this live is If They Kill Dr. Sebi, Why Not Nipsey? Is because before I even knew who this was, because I was seeing this all over my timeline, I was seeing him associated with Dr. Sebi, and I was wondering why, okay? So again, I pulled another article. This one came from Parenting Magazine. Again, just a quick Google search, okay? And I'm going to tell you what the association is with Dr. Sebi. Okay, Grammy-nominated rapper and community activist Nipsey Hussle was shot dead on Sunday outside his clothing shop in Los Angeles. The 33-year-old, whose real name is Ermias Davidson Asgerom, was shot a number of times alongside 2 others who survived the shooting incident. Quote, "We have no suspect info at this time and will provide more details as they become available." This is from the Los Angeles Police Department. Hundreds of fans took to social media to express their shock and condolence messages. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. Nipsey's death has given rise to conspiracy theories among fans who think he was targeted for making a documentary on self-proclaimed healer Dr. Sebi. Now, I used to follow Dr. Sebi. I didn't do everything he said, but I certainly followed him, okay? Who was born Alfredo Bowman, who claimed to have found the cure for AIDS, but was also killed in August 2019. Let me make myself a little note here so I can get back to AIDS, okay? Specifically in South Africa, okay? So let's go back here, okay? Dr. Sebi Alfredo Bowman was claimed to have found the cure for AIDS, but was killed in August 2016, okay? This is allegedly, we don't know, but, okay? Usually when we say allegedly is because we know, we just can't prove it, okay? There are many who believe that despite Dr. Sebi not being a licensed physician, he had become a threat to the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry, and Nipsey's documentary on the doctor would have exposed the rot in this industry. Okay, so I myself am not a conspiracy theorist. I don't do lives and start spewing conspiracies. That's not my thing. However, let me draw your attention to a few things so you can draw your own conclusions, okay? The first thing that I'm going to talk about is the Tuskegee experiments that took place. I believe Tuskegee is in Alabama. But anyway, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, guys, okay? The Tuskegee experiment started from 1942 to 1972, okay? Now, I was born in the 70s. So this is not that long ago, okay? So there are people who this happened to that could very well still be alive, and their children and grandchildren are still alive, okay? Let that sink in for a minute, guys, okay? This happened in our lifetime, or in the lifetime of people who are still alive right now, today. This is something that was done by the health department of the United States. So the health department is what? The United States government. The articles that I've read claim that there were 600 men, half of which got medicine for syphilis. The claim of most of these articles is that these men already had syphilis. So they gave half of them penicillin to kill the syphilis, and half of them they didn't give the penicillin, okay? So they just let these men die of this disease or watch them suffer. You know, it creates mental illness and all kinds of other manifestations. So they knew they had it. They told them they were treating them, and they didn't treat them. Now, if you know anything about American history, the United States of America and their history, you have to question if those men already had syphilis or if they were given the syphilis, okay? Now, again, I don't know. I wasn't there, okay? But let me leave you with that question. Did they arrive to the study with syphilis, or were they given syphilis? Hold that thought, and I will read to you another experiment that was conducted in Guatemala, okay, in South America. Now, there's all kinds of people in Guatemala, but I'm going to let you guess which ones they probably conducted this experiment on, okay? This article is from 2010 while Hillary Clinton was still Secretary of State. And it is from NBC News, okay? The US government medical researchers intentionally infected, the title, I'm sorry, is US apologizes for Guatemala STD experiments. US government medical researchers intentionally infected hundreds of people in Guatemala, including institutionalized mental patients with gonorrhea and syphilis, without their knowledge or permission for more than 60 years, or rather more than 60 years ago. I'm not sure why it matters that it's more than 60 years ago. Just that it's 60 years ago means some of those people are alive, okay? Many of those infected were encouraged to pass the infection on to others as part of the study. About 1/3 of those who were infected never got adequate treatment. On Friday, the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, and Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius offered extensive apologies for action taken by the U.S. Public Health Service. U.S. Public Health Service means United States government, guys. United States government infected people in Guatemala with syphilis and gonorrhea deliberately. Quote, the sexually transmitted disease inoculation study conducted from 1946 to 1948 in Guatemala was clearly unethical. You think? According to the joint statement from Clinton and Sebelius, quote, although these events occurred more than 64 years ago, we are outraged that such reprehensible research could have occurred under the guise of public health. We deeply regret that it happened, and we apologize to all the individuals who were affected by such abhorrent research practices. Secretary Clinton called Guatemalan President Alvaro Calderas Thursday night to reaffirm the importance of the U.S. relationship with the Latin American country. Blah, 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 blah. The headline is U.S. apologizes for Guatemala STD experiments. Okay, so now let's go back to the Tuskegee experiments, and I'll ask you again. Do you think that these men, these black men, now mind you, these were only black men that they conducted these experiments on. Do you think they arrived at the study with syphilis or without syphilis? I'll leave you with that question. And then, guys, we will go back again to the original story about Nipsey Hussle, okay? And Dr. Sebi and the connection, okay? I also saw a video clip in which Nipsey Hussle was interviewed, and he was talking about his documentary surrounding Dr. Sebi. And he talked about, look, guys, if something happens to me, I'm paraphrasing here. He says, if something happens to me, if they kill me doing this, something like that. Or he was implying that the work that he's trying to do should continue after he's gone. So he predicted that starting to do this documentary would lead to him getting killed. And here we are, he is killed. Now, guys, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know much about gang violence or the gangs or whatever goes on in LA. But again, my timeline this morning has been very informative. And people say that this man had his store in his own territory, whatever that means in gang world. And it was highly unlikely, they think, that anyone would kill him in his own territory. But like I said, guys, we have to think for ourselves, and we have to wonder if this man was killed. And is it really a conspiracy theory to say that he was killed by the powers that be? Because there is ample evidence to suggest that Dr. Sebi was killed while he was under government's watch. And this was a man who was extremely healthy at the time. And then he just died. Granted, he was an older man, but he died under mysterious circumstances. And to this day, we don't know exactly what happened. And from what I read at the time, he was detained for something that was not, it was not a crime that he was endangering anybody. Apparently, he was carrying too much money. I believe it was $30,000 US. And of course, to get in and out of the country, as far as the United States goes, you can't carry more than 10,000. You can't carry more than 10,000 coming in. You can't carry more than 10,000 going out. And he had 30,000. Not that I blame him, okay? Make your money there and spend it somewhere else is my motto. Okay? There you have it, guys. I've read a couple of articles. This is not me just speaking. I'm reading to you. This was from NBC News that I was reading. I was talking about the Guatemala STD experiments. And my goodness, if you do your research, if you dig enough into history, you will end up in a rage because of all the things that have happened to Black people in this country that we call the United States. Okay, so I'm not making this stuff up. And to say that people who say that this may not have been just some random gang violence, to say that those people are being ridiculous without taking into consideration the things that have happened. I mean, really, if you dig into history, has anybody heard of, what was it called, COINTELPRO? Go Google that and read it and come back to me. Drop a line anywhere in any of my posts and tell me you went and looked up COINTELPRO and tell me what happened. This is not something that's denied by the US government. They've redacted a lot of the documents so you can't get a lot of the information, but it's there, guys. It happened, okay? And many, many more things have happened, okay? So don't always jump to this conclusion that people are making things up, okay? There's one more thing, guys. This is going to be short and then I'm going to be out. There was one more thing that I wanted to, I didn't get the article, but I read this on a couple of articles where a white South African, and I would like to say I'm very reluctant to call a white person a South African, But for the purpose of this conversation, I'll say that. A white South African admitted that they deliberately infected people with HIV, which eventually leads to full-blown AIDS. They deliberately infected Black South Africans with HIV, with the HIV virus, years ago, as part of their strategy, their warfare against Black South Africans. White South Africans did that. He admitted it. And to this day, in the whole world, the country of South Africa has one of, if not the highest, incidence of HIV/AIDS. And let's not forget that Dr. Sebi was one of the people who claimed to be able to heal that disease. But to go back to South Africa, okay, they infected people with HIV. And these people eventually got full-blown AIDS. And a lot of people will say, you know, well, their behavior is what causes AIDS to spread around them. Listen, guys, I've lived in the United States since I was 19 years old. I went to college in the United States. I've traveled to in more than one country. And never in my life, especially during my college years, which was in the 90s, never in my life have I seen such promiscuity. And the HIV rate didn't go up there. Okay? So don't ever tell me that Africans, whether they're in South Africa or anywhere else on the continent, are so promiscuous and so disgusting and so dirty that they spread around HIV. And that's why the prevalence of the disease is so high. But in the West or in other countries, it's not so high because they can behave, they can control themselves. No, thank you. That is not correct, okay? Because what happens is there's always some social engineering in the background that nobody talks about. And then they're able to say, look at them, you know, those savages. They can't even control themselves, and that's why they have HIV. As if those people, for their promiscuity, deserve HIV, and people in the West, for their promiscuity, are exempt. Let me try and check out comments, guys. Usually I can't when the live is on because my computer gets really slow, but I'll try. Okay. Jamaica says they did. Jamaica says they did kill him. I believe so. She says they did kill Nipsey. The Jamaica says they only have one. They only have one child together. So I'm assuming you're talking about Lauren London is her youngest. Her oldest is Lil Wayne's baby. I knew that, but was it really necessary to say that? You know, once you marry, all your children are all your children, right? Okay. But yes, I did know that. And thank you for clarifying. Dia says bull. Which part? I'm sorry, guys. You know, like I said, it gets hard to see your comments, but I really did want to address some of the comments, answer any questions, and respond to what you're saying. But it always happens when I'm on a live. It slows down my internet so much that I can't really respond to comments. Okay. So that's all I had for today, guys. I just wanted to kind of bring your attention to some of the things that I found out. I want to one more time just ask you if you can take a moment right now, remind you again, guys, it's very important that we subscribe and support the Fly Nubian Queen Network. We do our best to take stories that affect Black people, report on them, talk about them, have discussions about them, and make them prominent because mainstream media won't do that. So in that light, please go to flynubianqueen.com, do it right now, and subscribe. You can text the word Queens to 31996, 31996. And when you text Queens to 31996, what happens is you can get alerts when the Queens are live. There are many, many, many more Queens on the Fly Nubian Queen Network. We even have a king or two. Then the next thing that I really need you to do, guys, is please go to, in fact, let me just put it in the comments. I hope it'll let me. Like I said, my computer gets so slow when I'm on a live. I'll put it on here afterwards. Please go to the Facebook page called Pads for Our Girls. for Our Girls. Actually, it's in the title here. Go to Pass for Our Girls, just like the page, share it, support the page. Like I said, I've started an initiative here in my country of birth in Botswana to bring free pass to school girls who sometimes don't go to school because of their period. And this is a sad thing, so it impedes them getting an education. So what we're doing is, this is an initiative to get free pass to them. So please support that. Just go and like the page. That's the first thing. We just need the page to grow. And then we'll take it from there. And then the third thing, and the exciting thing, is I want to share with you guys that on Wednesday, I will be starting a show with my good friend, Mrs. Grandgenois, who you probably know as Ro Cutno. She is the author of the book Man Leads and the co-founder with her husband of The Roots of Royals. So the main theme of our show is going to be generational wealth and success. Generational wealth and success, not for everybody, specifically for Black people. So join us there. If you haven't already, again, subscribe to flyingnubianqueen.com. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining me, guys. I'm sorry I couldn't get to more of your comments. When I get off the live, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get in the comments and talk to you then. Next time I will have my phone, or let me see, maybe I can get in here. Next time I'll have my phone, which is what I usually do, and I look at the comments on my phone because my computer gets too slow. Thank you for joining me, guys. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.